Hello everybody and welcome to Thursday's Assembly. Now Thursday is always Thoughtful Thursday, so I thought that we'd start today off with our thunk of the day. Now the question I'd like to put to you is, would you rather be a superhero or a wizard? Now if I were answering this question, I think I would rather be a wizard, because wizards can have magical powers and would hopefully be able to take away diseases and illnesses like the horrible coronavirus. So I think if I were choosing, I'd rather be a wizard with magical powers. Have a little think about what you would rather be, and I thought it would be really nice if you could perhaps email into your teachers your answers as the day goes on, and we could share some with you in your class assembly tomorrow. Now today's theme of the week is dreams and aspirations. Now we all have dreams, but what does an aspiration mean? Have a little moment just to think what an aspiration is. Now if I were trying to define this, I think I would say that an aspiration is something that you aim to achieve. It's a hope for the future, a hope that you will achieve your goals, and it fits in nicely, this theme, with a book that I'd like to share with you today. The book is called The Hopopotamus, and it's actually a poem that rhymes. So I want you to close your eyes and sit back and listen to the story, and we'll talk about it at the end. In a drought, in the dust, in a dry river bed, a sad hippopotamus hung his grey head. He'd had nothing to drink since the start of this week. If he didn't find water, then things could get quite bleak. The hippo was sad and the hippo was hot, but did he sit down and give in? Of course not. He remembered the words of a wise old giraffe that he'd heard long ago when he'd been a young calf. There'll be times in your life when your road will be tough. You'll be tempted to say that you've had quite enough. There'll be people that try and convince you to stop, and you'll feel that you're just about ready to drop. But those are the times when you've got to keep moving, and with every small step you will see things improving. Just point any way that seems hopeful to you. You move 1 foot forwards, then foot number 2. Then follow this up with your other 2 feet. Then return to foot 1 and repeat and repeat. Remember those words, said the wise old giraffe to our hero the hippo when he was a calf. So the hippopotamus nodded his head. I'll keep plodding and see where I get to, he said. And he looked all around at the arid terrain and thought, will I ever find water again? Ahead, a high mountain rose up in the distance. It looked rocky and steep, but with hippo persistence, he decided he'd walk it till he had overcome it, in case there were better things over the summit. First he came to a desert, which wasn't too handy. It was hard to walk through, rather slippy and sandy. A camel was sitting on top of a dune, and it told the hippo, you absolute loon. Turn around, go back, or you'll look like a chump. There's no water this way, except this in my hump. But the hippopotamus shook his head. Just a bit further, he boldly said. 1 step at a time he continued his journey, till he came to a jungle, dark, dank, green and ferny. The jungle was thick and the creepers were creepy, and a large sloth hung down from a branch looking sleepy. This forest, it goes on for miles, he said, yawning. Why don't you just hang here with me till the morning? The hippo, though tempted, again shook his head. Just a bit further, he bravely said. He plunged on through the jungle, and after a while he arrived at the mountain, the ultimate trial. Poor hippo was tired, almost giving up hope, but 1 step at a time he pushed up the slope. The mountain was rocky and strewn with huge boulders. Then stones hurt his feet and the sun scorched his shoulders. A lion sat there on a rocky outcropping, and the lion called out, you're much better off stopping. But the hippopotamus shook his head. Just a bit further, he proudly said. His heart was so heavy, his feet were so sore, but he climbed and he climbed, one step, then one step more. And just when he was feeling ready to drop, he finally realised that he'd reached the top, and a splendid sight met his eyes when he looked down, a wide muddy waterhole gleaming and brown. He could see lots of splashing. Someone was there bathing. A hippo, a friend, and they seemed to be waving. And the hippopotamus nodded his head. "I'm glad that I chose to keep going," he said. Then a voice from behind him called out, "We were wrong. The lion, sloth and camel had followed along." And the animals cried, "You're more brave than the lot of us. Hip, hip, hooray for the hippopotamus." So the hippopotamus had hippo persistence. He never gives up. Can you think of a time when you didn't give up? In the rhyming story, the hippopotamus meets lots of animals who tell him to give up. What would you have said to the hippopotamus to help him not to give up? Sometimes when things are difficult, you might feel like giving up. However, just like the hippopotamus, it's important to keep trying. Next time you feel like giving up, try becoming a hippopotamus. And if your friend's about to give up, think what you could say to them to help them to become a hippopotamus. Like, "How can I help you? Don't give up. You've got this. I know you can do this." You'll be so proud of yourself when you finish. Be a hippopotamus. So I hope you really enjoyed the story of the hippopotamus today. And perhaps in the future, when you feel like giving up, you keep trying and practicing till you get there and you reach your hopes, your dreams and your aspirations. Thank you for listening, children. See you soon. Bye.